Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Tom Aspinall situation. There's been an update in the Tom Aspinall situation. Okay, Tom Aspinall's broken his silence since the controversial ending to his most recent fight with Cyril Gane, where he was poked in the eyes. It ended in a no contest. Tom Aspinall was blinded. Since then, the only thing we heard from Tom Aspinall and his camp was that Tom's eyesight hadn't really improved. I think 4 days from the incident, and obviously in no improvement in 3 days is typically something more serious. Since then, there's been accusations of like, oh, he faked it, he didn't think the fight was going his way. Tom has released some documentation from his doctors, multiple doctors, a multitude of doctors, optometrists and whatevers. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I don't know anything about, I'm not a doctor, don't know nothing about doctoring, don't ask me. But, you know, the files are there, you want to take a look, go take a look on Tom Aspinall's Instagram, I guess. It's all there. But yeah, I do want to say I have no medical knowledge whatsoever. I'm not going to give you a medical opinion or any kind of, I've no idea, I don't know anything about that. I'm not even going to pretend to. I'm just here to talk about the implications of potential surgery. Anyway, Tom Aspinall has also released a video addressing the fans specifically. It's more of a Q&A, and I just wanted to go over some of the more relevant issues, some of the issues I found interesting and that I would like to take a look at. So yeah, so Tom Aspinall, he's released this documentation kind of to squash, to quell any talk that he's faking it. I think it's a bad move personally. I wouldn't have bothered, but fair enough, I suppose. He wants to be open with his fans, and I suppose by doing so, he kind of lets people be like, yeah, well, you know, he's faking it. I was seeing people were saying that the NHS don't give out documentation like that. They do. Have you never been to it? You can get like when you're getting multitudes of tests done, right? You can get like a summary of it all. Not even just, you can get it all on paper. Everything's written down. Like when you go to a doctor and shit, you can request that shit. It's not difficult. They don't always give it out. You know, you go in there with a chesty cough. They take a look, they say, why are you wasting our time going to A&E with a chesty cough? You dick. You know, they say something like that. But yeah, especially if you go into a lots of opticians, like if you go on private, or even if you are on the NHS, if you go to an optician's, a lot of the time they'll give you written documentation. But like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. I just know that I receive documentation near enough every time I go to a doctor summing up what has taken place. So I don't know what doctors everyone else is going to, but I use the NHS. You know, I wait a while to be seen. You know, I'm in the queue. Anyway, more importantly, getting sidetracked. You know we're getting sidetracked. More importantly, boom. Wow, look, now I'm over here. Tom Aspinall's made a video. It's more of a Q&A, addressing some questions I guess he wanted to go over. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could say the cherry picked, because obviously he's hosting the Q&A himself and just going through thingy. But you know, it's his producer, I guess, or his cameraman. I don't really know how that works. Anyway, let's take a look, because there's just a few moments I want to go over. Just a few quick ones. So the first one is at 3 minutes 56. Let's take a look.
Did you think he did it on purpose?
So, I think that when it initially happened, I didn't really think much of it. I thought, accidental eye poke, whatever. Look, when I watched the fight back, that's when I really got the gist of what's going on. The guy was trying to poke my eyes out all the way through that round. Multiple exchanges, nearly every exchange that I could put him in danger. He had his fingers out pointing towards my eyes. Have a look at this clip and let me know what you think.
Now, we're not going to take a look at the clip. If you want to see it, pop on over to Aspinall's channel. But we will indeed discuss it. If you've seen the footage, it's out there. It's another YouTube video. I'm sure you can track it down. It's got quite a few views. And as is the case in the majority of Cyril Gane's fights, he is always looking for an eye poke. He's always looking for a groin kick. Cyril Gane has been a cheater. We all know he's a cheater. Aspinall even points out, we're not going to go to it in this video, I don't think, but Aspinall even points out that John Jones has even said that Cyril Gane is a cheater. So it's a maybe if he'd seen it in the cage at the time, he would have protested more, and maybe he would have argued for a disqualification victory. I don't think he was ever going to get it, but yeah, I like the fact that he's watched it back and he's like, hey, this motherfucker was this guy was trying to take my fucking eyes out, you know. I like the fact that he's gone and looked at him and like, this fucker, because that's info for next time. Okay, because they're going to run this back eventually. This is a fight that does have to happen, provided Tom does make a speedy recovery. But we'll get to that surely, because I'm sure a bit later on we're going to talk about potential surgery. He doesn't he's staying hopeful, he's staying positive, because they don't mention that he's actually needs surgery at this moment in time. But it is open for discussion, like in the documentation, if you care to look at it. If you Exhibit A, Your Honour. Now, if you care to take a look at the documentation, it stays in there. There's a few treatment plans if the eye doesn't get better on its own. Steroids, he's not going to be able to take steroids. Some other banned substance and surgery. So he's most likely going to need eye surgery or surgery behind the eye. There's talk of it being a fracture, but like I said, I'm not a doctor. Okay, I'm just here to say that if Aspinall needs surgery, he's going to be out for a little while, and that means a bit of a hold up at heavyweight unless we do an interim belt or we strip Tom or Tom vacates, which would be anticlimactic. So let's move on to the next bit, because I'm getting ahead of myself, man. I'm excited. I'm making content. Isn't this so fun? I could have said that like it was more fun. So we're going to skip past the little compilation. Little Andy.
Cyril Gane at all?
Little Andy appearance there. Take it back. My bad.
Wrong.
Have you heard from Cyril Gane at all, or any contact or anything post-fight?
Nope.
Nice guy.
And your thoughts on him at the moment?
My thoughts on him, I think he's a big cheater. I think that, look at all his fights.
Okay, so at the risk of getting copyright struck, we won't watch that. You got to be careful these days with the UFC. But yeah, Cyril Gane is a blatant cheat, and you've seen a little bit there before I had to cut away. Cyril Gane is a blatant cheat. He cheats blatantly, regularly. That's just Cyril Gane. That's just who Cyril Gane is. That is his strategy going into fights. You know, you're seeing the footage. Everyone knows it. Cyril Gane, part of his style is to cheat. Like it works. Jason Herzog says it. We're not going to go over it, but Jason Herzog himself in this video, in Aspinall's video, they showed the clip again. That was in a previous Aspinall video. Herzog saying the thing with cheating is that it works. He goes, yeah, fucking do your job as the ref then, and it wouldn't. But yeah, whatever. That's, by the by, Jason Herzog's got bigger issues with this whole betting scandal going on, right? What a strange guy. Allegedly a strange guy. Can't remember. Allegedly a strange guy. Popping back over to the video, we're going to take a look closer to the end of the video. 9 minutes, 7 seconds. For the viewers watching at home, watching along on the audio.
What's next?
What's next for me right now is there's talk of surgery on the eyes. We've got to see how it goes over the next few weeks. Obviously that's down to the specialists and stuff, but I'm not in the gym training at the moment. I'm not doing anything MMA wise at the moment. I'm just following the doctor's orders right now and seeing what happens with the health.
So yeah, I jumped the gun a little bit earlier, but it seems like they're going to have to go with surgery. Now, surgery, that means Tom's going to be out for a good while, and I'm talking like a good few months, maybe even a year. eye surgery is a strange thing. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but in my experience with eye surgery, see, like I said, I wasn't going to do this, and now I'm doing it. In my experience with people who've had, I've never even had an eye surgery. I just know people who have. In my experience of knowing people who've had eye surgeries, sometimes they have to be revisited. The eye is very delicate. The eye is very delicate. I'm not a doctor, by the way. The eye is very delicate. And they don't want to fuck about with it too much a lot of the time. So they want to do just enough to fix it and not have to be too intrusive. Because there's a lot of sensitive shit, I assume, there. I imagine that's why they want to be careful. Once again, I'm not a doctor. But yeah, if he does have surgery, the main implication is Tom Aspinall won't be able to fight and defend his belt, and the UFC probably doesn't want to hold up its premier division with heavyweight. So what happens? Tom Aspinall probably not going to vacate the belt. Not really fair, I suppose. It was an illegal strike. Why should he have to vacate the belt because he's been poked in the eyes? But in the meantime, like I say, Tom could be out for up to a year with a potential eye surgery. You know? Who could say? In the meantime, do they do an interim belt? Do they get Waldo Cortez Acosta? They say, you know what, this guy's been making a bit of a splash recently. He's on a tear. Do we get Waldo Cortez Acosta? Do we say, all right, we're going to give you a shot. We're gonna send you up there, provided he beats. Is he fighting Derek Lewis? Provided he beats Derek Lewis, you know, that'd be interesting to see. That's a banging fight. I don't know if Derek Lewis gets you a title shot, but you know, I think we can pull some strings. UFC, come on, throw him in there. Just throw him in there in a fight doesn't make sense. Let's get some action. But no, it's terrible news. If Aspinall is unfortunately having to, I mean, they do an interim for him. They could do an interim for him. They could have Cyril Gane fight Waldo Cortez Acosta, but I don't think Waldo Cortez Acosta would do very well against Cyril. Waldo's pretty good, actually. I didn't rate him very highly, and then he's been going on this tear, and he looks really well improved, actually. Really calm in the high pressure situations, and pretty accurate too. Maybe he could catch Cyril, but to be honest with you, Cyril's pretty elusive, and it'd be difficult. It'd be very difficult for Waldo Cortez. Maybe he grapples. Maybe he just fucking switches up and just grapples. Waldo Cortez Acosta can grapple. So it'd be interesting to see. I just don't think he wins that fight. Maybe he can be waiting in the wings to go. I think he has a better chance against Aspinall than he does against Gane. I just don't think it's the right kind of matchup for him. But it'd be interesting to see nonetheless. But yeah, that does kind of sum up the video. I mean, not really a lot more to say on the situation. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to be theorizing. Maybe this, maybe this or maybe that. Maybe he's faking it. I don't really know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an eye doctor. No medical training, like I said. All I can say is it could be very dull or very interesting for the heavyweight division. This can go one of two ways, and the ball's in the UFC's court. And if it comes down to Dana White, he's not going to do anything. The guy doesn't care anymore. Doesn't care about the sport anymore. He's looking for his. I've said this in the last video anyway. You can go fucking watch that if you want to hear this rant again. Dana White doesn't give a shit. Okay, he doesn't care about the sport. So maybe, if we're lucky, he doesn't give enough of a shit that he just throws together an interim title fight and gives us something interesting to watch in the meantime. Speedy recovery for Tom Aspinall. We're hopeful for our UK champ. But yeah, sad to see. Hope there's a speedy recovery after the surgery. Hopefully there's not a surgery. Hopefully there's a miraculous recovery overnight. But yeah, he's been diagnosed with Brown syndrome. I'm not going to pretend I know anything about the ins and outs of Brown syndrome. But yeah, it gives you double vision and gives you kind of a... I don't know if you can see my eyes clearly enough, but I'm doing this. Makes your eyes look crazy. Makes your eyes not really strong, but look in different directions. But like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to pretend I know. Have I said I'm not a doctor enough for it to legally mean I'm not giving health advice to anybody? I hope so. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving me a like, subscribe for more. Could be fun. Until next time, keep your chin down, keep swinging. Peace and love. I'll see you around.